Hey gang, it's Bryan from FXBilliards. Today we are going to talk about 9-ball. This will also cover 10-ball as well. So if you want to play 9-ball or 10-ball, pretty much the same things are at play here. Now, this video is going to be focused towards those of you who are relative beginner players or maybe intermediate players who just can't deal with playing 9-ball because of the fact that you've got to shoot these balls in rotation. And by the way, if you don't know, every time we talk about shooting balls in rotation, we're talking about numerical order. Just another way to say numerical order. So, the challenge of shooting balls in rotation can be the number one thing that keeps players from playing 9-ball. You see us on YouTube, we're breaking racks, we take ball in hand. Next thing you know, a minute and a half later, we've run all the balls off in rotation. And then you go and you break the balls off and you take ball in hand and you make the 1 ball and you're nowhere to be found on the 2. Then you get on the 2 ball, you can't get to the 3. Maybe you have occasions where you make 2 in a row and you're very excited about that because it can be extremely challenging. The interesting thing about 9-ball is those of you who play 8-ball, whether it's in a league or with your friends or whatever, think of 9-ball as being more difficult. But as you get better, as you become a better and better player and you're playing higher level 9-ball and higher level 8-ball, you find out that 9-ball is the easier game. In an 8-ball game, you have literally tens of thousands of different combinations of things that could occur. In a 9-ball game, we know you're going to go from the 1 to the 2 to the 3. And you're going to do that every time. So that's why as you get better, 9-ball becomes the easier game and 8-ball becomes a little bit more complex. In the lower levels, in the intermediate levels, 8-ball seems easier because you're putting balls in the pocket. And as a pool player, you enjoy putting the balls in the pocket. But that doesn't mean you're ahead in the game. If a skilled 9-ball player plays an intermediate 8-ball player, the intermediate 8-ball player is such an underdog in that game that it's not even worth discussing. The 9-ball player is going to reign supreme. But if a skilled 8-ball player plays a skilled 9-ball player in 8-ball, the skilled 8-ball player is going to win just about every time. So it's a very interesting dynamic when you're going from 8-ball to 9-ball and 9-ball to 8-ball. But we're going to talk about how to build your skill set so that you can run more balls in a row in 9-ball, get rid of some of that frustration, and enjoy the game that you're going to find a lot of people are playing. I know a lot of you like to watch matches on YouTube. Probably for every 8-ball match that you watch, there's going to be a dozen 9-ball and 10-ball matches. Let's look at ways that you can improve your 9-ball game and things you should not be doing to try to improve your 9-ball game. The number one thing beginner and intermediate players do wrong when looking to develop a 9-ball game is they rack the balls and they try to shoot them off in rotation. The number 2 thing that intermediate and beginner players do wrong when they learn to play 9-ball is to actually play 9-ball. You are going to really put a damper on your ability to grow as a 9-ball player if what you're doing is getting with your friends, breaking the balls, and playing a game of 9-ball. The reason is you're not getting in enough reps. You're not getting in enough reps in the number one thing that you need for 9-ball, and that is shooting balls in rotation. So what you should do is start by throwing 3 balls on the table. This is going to be your rack, 3 balls. Now, why do we throw them on the table as opposed to breaking? There's a couple schools of thought here. Some people say rack 9 balls, break them, and then take 6 off the table and leave 3 on there and try to shoot them off in rotation. That's good in that it allows you to practice your 9-ball break. That's not what we're here to do. You're here to learn how to shoot balls off in rotation and learn how to play position from the 1, the 2 to the 3. So racking them every time, you are losing valuable rep time. You are losing literally hundreds of hours in reps. If you're a relative beginner, you're going to start with 3 balls. If you're an advanced player or you've moved up, let's say you're an APA 5, try throwing 4, then maybe 5 balls out. But the idea here is you're not working with a full rack. By the time you get to the point where you can shoot off 5 balls in rotation more frequently than not, more frequently than when you fail to do the 5 balls in rotation, you are probably at the point where you can start playing with and practicing with full racks. The magic number is somewhere around 5 or 6. You run 6 balls off and you're a favorite to do that, and I'm going to show you in a minute how to measure your growth here. But if you're a favorite to make 6 balls, then you can run racks. The other thing I'm going to warn you about is the difference, the skill difference between someone who can run 3 balls off on a regular basis and someone who can run 4 off on a regular basis is a major gap. It is not something you're going to go from one day to the next and be able to do. The person that can do 4 going to 5, it is another major gap. For many of you who don't get a lot of hours per week to practice, it could be as much as a year difference in your pool playing to be able to go from I'm a favorite to run 4 to I'm a favorite to run 5. So I want you to understand that you are going to grow in very small increments. But this is how you find where you're going to start. Should you start with 3 balls, 4 balls, or 5 balls? I recommend you start with 3 if you're a relative beginner, say an APA 3, maybe an APA 4, and then work your way up to 4, then 5, then 6. As I said earlier, at 6, you can probably start racking an entire rack. But what you're going to do, that ball passes. What you're going to do is shoot these off in order. Watch this, you're going to like this. Isn't that sweet? You're going to shoot these off in order, and then you're going to keep score. You're going to shoot as many of these as you need to get a race to 10. You're either going to be successful 10 times or you're going to fail 10 times before you're successful 10 times. So you're having a race to 10 basically against a ghost. Whether you start with 3, 4, whatever, keep score. If you are losing that race with 4 balls over and over and over again, 10 to 3, 10 to 4, 10 to 2, go down to 3 balls. It's okay. If you're using 3 balls and you can't beat the ghost in a race to 10, keep going with 3 balls. A few rules of engagement that will help you with your development. Rule 1, if you cannot make 3 balls, don't go to 4. If you can't make 4 in the race to 10, don't go to 5. Why? Why shouldn't you jump up, give it a shot? Because you need to have a string of wins. If you go above your head, you're going to have loss after loss after loss. It is not good for you. It's not healthy. One of the reasons you give up some games is because you don't get to put balls in the pocket often enough, because you don't get enough W's. Allow yourself to actually beat the race to 10 before you move up. Rule 2, when you throw these balls out, I like to throw them off of 3 rails and sometimes in 2 different directions. This is important because you want this to be as random as possible. Which brings me to the next rule. Don't cheat yourself. Don't say, I don't want that 2 on the rail, and then you shoot to try to knock it off the rail. Let it be random. It's okay to have some losses. You are testing yourself. Just don't want you to have a zillion of them. All right? Next rule. When you are playing them, as best you can, plan out the run at least 3 balls ahead. I'm going to play the 1 there with enough follow to get on the 2 with an angle so that I can get on the 3. Not I'm going to play the 1 there and I'll be on the 2. If you can't have a plan for this 3, your run may end right there. You might get an angle that you can't even get on this 3 ball if you get on the 2 in the wrong way. So have a plan, 3 balls ahead as often as you can. Be true to yourself on these guys, all right? If you're not, it's not going to help you with your development. A lot of you, your game has stalled because you try something, you don't like it, it doesn't work, and you're done with it. There's not a great pool player in the world who has not suffered through 3 balls, 4 balls, 5 balls, and trying to work their way up. Not one of them that you see on YouTube, not one of us has gone from 3 balls to 9 balls in under 5 years. Trust me, your growth is not going to be that high. If you go from 3 to 9 in under a couple years, you should have been starting out above 3, okay? It takes time to develop it, and what you want to do is grow slightly every day, consistently moving up, because these spikes only happen when you're a beginner player, which will help some of you, because if you're an APA 3, for example, you can improve 25% overnight just by holding the cue properly. But if you're a 4 or 5 in 8 ball, your ability to go from 4 balls here to 5 balls here to 6 balls here is not going to be that dramatic in a short period of time. Give it time, okay? Hit me in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Let me know if you have any questions.